Welcome back to 556 Media. Today we're going to talk about a very important topic. It's not necessarily related to prepping, although it does have its place, but it falls into the everyday preparedness category. So we're talking about medical stuff here. And if your medical kit looks like this, you're not prepared. Let's get into it. All right, so like I said, if this is all you got, some Band-Aids, maybe some gauze, some paper tape, things like that laying around the house, you're not trained, you're not prepared for everyday medical emergencies. And I'm not talking about long-term prepping. That's part of the subject, but that is not the subject of this video. Training is key, and being equipped is the second half of being prepared. So let's delve into what I do, what I have, and my training and experience. I almost forgot this part. This is not a training video. I am not here to offer you medical advice or training. I am just going to show you what I possess, what I use, what I carry in my vehicles in my home in case of basic emergency medical needs or advanced trauma care in the field. All right, so the first thing you're going to see, other than my smaller kits, this is the one I keep in my car and the one I keep in the house, but you can tell the similarities between the two. One's smaller, obviously, one's bigger. The bright fluorescent orange is key. That's something that you tell somebody, hey, go grab my medic bag, go grab my medical bag, go grab my jump kit, things like that. Look for the orange bag. That's the first thing you're going to see is the orange color. The second thing is the medical emblem, which you're going to have one of two types. One is this one. The other one's just like a red or white cross on the bag.
You don't know what you're talking about, do you, sir? I said, you don't know what you're talking about.
First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put aside the BVM or bag valve mask because I'm not going to open this up because it's sanitized. But bag valve mask is attached to this kit. Right off the bat, you're going to see the stethoscope and blood pressure cuff. These are attached. They go hand in hand. So I do have a standard BP cuff, blood pressure cuff, and stethoscope. It's actually a quality set. This isn't some cheap Chinese knockoff junk. So I keep that in there as well. You never know. And again, this is a training thing. You need to learn how to take blood pressure properly and to use these tools. I know they look like spaghetti right now, but I keep one on top of the other so I can just grab them like I'm doing right now and bring them out all at once.
I guess I'm the dumb one.
You can already see there are two tourniquets in here. This is the big bag, like I said, the stay-at-home or the grab-and-go bag. But in my smaller EMS, my smaller medical and trauma bags, there is at least one tourniquet in each one. This one has two. One thing that's very important when you're putting together just a basic medical bag, much less a trauma kit, is to make sure that you include some type of cutting instrument. In this case, there's a pair of medical shears, and these things can actually cut through pennies. And I also have a folding knife. It does have a partial serration that makes things easier. But I'm not going to go into the hemostats and everything else like that. That's for more advanced type of training. But yeah, you need cutting instruments to cut off clothing, wiring, obstructions that are preventing you from treating medical emergencies. So there you go. That's what I have. It's funny, earlier I mentioned like the paper tape, the cheap paper first aid tape. There's a couple rolls there. That does come in handy. It's always good to have some on hand. You've got the more rigid, more higher strength synthetic type tape. You have the self-binding medical tape. You can find all of this stuff in any of your local drugstores that carries first aid supplies, or any big box store that finds first aid supplies. But it's good to have a different types of ways to secure bandages and cover wounds and things like that, secure other medical gear.
Here comes the meat wagon. Woo, woo, woo. And the medic gets out and says, "Oh my God." New guy's in the corner puking his guts out. All because you want to save a couple extra pennies.
All right, one of the most important things you want to have in a trauma kit is a blood stopping agent or gauze. So here's 3 different versions of quick clot. There's basically there's clotting sponges. There actually used to be a powder. I think I carry that in one of my vehicle bags, but I prefer the gauzes and the sponges. So there's 3 different types. So quick clot first response, quick clot combat gauze.
It's gotta be the one. I gotta do this. It's gotta be me. It's gonna be.
Not just for first aid, but particularly trauma. Some of the most important things you can have are sterile pads or gauze. 4x4s are traditionally they're very thin. Like as far as packaging, they're thin. You can store a whole box in your medical bag easily. But I carry a ton of 4x4s. I've used, I couldn't even tell you how many in the field to treat victims, but sterile 4x4 pads, you can get them any brand, whatever, but 4x4 pads, they're awesome. The other thing you can get is these 12 ply, they're 4x4s, but they're gauze sponges. These things are really thick, as you can see. So between using these and some of your medical tape, you cover the wound in the gauze sponge, wrap it, and keep pressure on. These things are good as well. You could pile on a bunch of 4x4s, use one of these, and then change them out as necessary. The big ones, we have trauma dressing. This is a 10x30. It's basically gauze, but it's a huge one. And these are good for large wounds, something along the lines of a limb or torso, but same concept.
No. Okie dokie.
No.
Gotcha. Thanks. Terrific. Thanks for your time.
I'm not going to get into too much of it, but these are nasopharyngeal airway kits. You need training to use these things. Basically what they do is if your airway, or if a victim's airway is obstructed, say their throat, they can't breathe through their mouth, that type of thing, you would insert these. They're different sizes and lengths. You would insert these through the nose, a nostril, and work them down into the nasal cavity, into the back of the throat. All right, combat dressing we've kind of gotten into with the gauze. It's not much different than the trauma dressing. This one's called the H bandage. It's called comprehensive combat dressing. It's kind of the same thing. I mean, you can look at it and tell the different ways that you can use it just by the pictures on the packaging. But again, training is pretty key when using any
I
of
know
this
what
stuff.
you're saying to yourself right now, but Jason, isn't that gonna hurt? Yeah, probably. But you know what's gonna hurt worse? Dying.
Another thing is part of the trauma thing. I carry like a bunch of different things, like hydrocolloid dressing, Tegaderm films, things like that. They can be used for sealing, or helping to seal, I should say, some more serious wounds, open wounds, say like stabbing, knife wounds, bullet wounds, things like that. These do come in handy. You have just a resource to use until advanced life support shows up. One really important thing, BSI, body substance isolation protocol, gloves, rubber gloves, latex gloves, non-latex, whatever, powdered, non-powder. I keep an ample supply in all of my bags. All right, I won't get into the really mundane, boring stuff, but you can see there's a ton of different Band-Aids, different sizes, different styles. You have to have a boo-boo kit in your trauma kit, or else it's just not a trauma kit. So Band-Aids of all shapes and sizes. Tweezers. Tweezers are important because you never know when you or somebody else is going to get a splinter. I do have cold packs in there. These are the fake ice packs. You just break and shake, they call it. You break the little ampule in there, shake them up. I got the ice packs. So they're good to have. So I hope you find the information valuable. Some of this stuff, like I said, you need training. You need to be proficient in its use, know how it's used properly, and to be able to use it properly. So most training in this is either very inexpensive, and in a lot of cases it's free. So check it out. At a minimum, know how to use an AED, know how to use a tourniquet, and know CPR. Those things are very, very critical. So go for it. I hope that you all do. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. Thank you for watching, liking, commenting, and subscribing. I'll catch you on the next one.
The most important thing you can do is remain as calm as possible, because the calmer you are, the longer you can remain conscious to hopefully help yourself to live and eat another day. Good luck.